I assume, are you guys going to scrimmage more tomorrow? What's your plan with quarterbacks to kind of move into this final days of week 2?
Yeah, kind of the first formal scrimmage, if you will, to be tomorrow. So it'll be pretty fluid, just like it's been throughout camp. We're through 10 or 11 practices now, so it's been pretty fluid, particularly with the second group with quarterbacks. So we'll try to equal the reps as much as we can. Not necessarily have a set plan going into it, just try to play as far as consistency of reps, so everybody gets an equal opportunity to show what they can do.
What have you seen from the guys who aren't doing?
I think an eagerness to learn and how they can support the room and be a benefit to the team. I think that's really a compliment to them. I don't think there's any egos in the room. They understand that, again, the fluidity in the reps and the rotation is part of our situation to let them showcase what they can do. So they've been really, really complimentary of each other, pushing each other, challenging each other, and then and there's a friendship building within the room. So it's really a positive culture, I think, right now.
And part of your job is to develop those guys, even as you're supporting Dylan on the field. How have you seen the two young guys, TJ and Marcos, kind of come along over the last 7 months?
Yeah, I think it's been great. I mean, it's ideal as far as reinforcing the standard is the standard. It doesn't matter if Dylan's in there or the fourth quarterback's in there, right? The standard is you perform and you execute like the expectation is that everybody's on the field has. So I think that's ideal in that situation, and everybody understands that, takes that serious, and once they're in there, whether you get 1 or 2 reps, you need to compete at a high level.
How do you feel like TJ's coming along? He was in the spring event. Curious how you feel like TJ's developed his skill set.
Yeah, excited about particularly his skill set. He can really throw it. As you guys can see, he's athletic. He can make some plays off schedule. He's starting to see the field better and better every day. Practice, he's literally right behind Dylan trying to get that visual of what's happening as far as post-snap confirmation, and excited about his eagerness and urgency to learn and the proactive nature he goes about it.
How do you guys use the GoPro cameras after practice? Like, what do you use those for?
Yeah, that's been a nice little change. I've not done that before. I've heard other people do it. That was a Coach Dana thing, and we probably utilize it more for the vocal than anything, as far as the cadence, as far as the huddle call, what's actually going on, out there, because coaches aren't on there. So it's been nice to hear that vocal, and then obviously Dylan being the getting the most reps, that the other guys can simulate and try to create the consistency with the cadence, with the huddle calls as much as we can, just for everybody involved.
So they kind of like watch it after the fact and see what he saw.
Yeah, so Coach Martin does a fantastic job. I mean, we have so many angles on the practice field, so we just plug that angle in as far as GoPro, and it's one of the angles that we watch in the quarterback room as well as the staff.
How have you seen that connection with Dylan and those receivers evolve over the course of this long offseason?
It's been really good, and I think you can really see growth in that this fall camp. With obviously some new guys coming in the spring, kind of knocking off some rust. I think coming through the summer and what they're doing now, I think it's been really, really good. The installs in, so really conceptually we have what we have, and now it's the variations of those concepts, and I think there's a comfort level not only with Dylan with the receivers, but with receivers to Dylan.
Will Jalen still be kind of your play signal guy on the sideline, or are you going to try to work some younger guys to develop that role, knowing that you have to have that role?
Yeah, I think the more that you can have in that capacity, the more, the better off you're going to be, and we try to train those guys. Everybody, like I say, everybody's, that's the expectation for everybody to be able to do that. So everybody should, have those capabilities.
I've seen the guys working on some of the quarterback, running back, pass game in practice. Just where do you think Dylan's at with that group and working on that?
Yeah, there's a real comfort level, I think, in that aspect. That's one thing, personally I feel really strongly about as far as personnel matchups. We have some guys in the backfield that can, maybe create a matchup here or there, and if we can get those balls, these running backs in space, I think we can do some good things. So we're excited about that, trying to, try to work through what's good, what they can do, what they feel comfortable with, and where it fits within the system. But I think, both running backs and quarterbacks are in a good place for that, and we're trying to promote that.
Hey, Glenn, did you sorry, I was just trying to look this up, but in your NFL time, did you coach at Arrowhead?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. 2010 maybe, something like that. Yeah, it's a cool environment for sure.
Right, you got to experience it as a visitor. what do you tell the guys? Like, what's your anticipation level about going there for this opener, and like what the experience can be for them?
I don't think the emphasis necessarily needs to be that, you know, and this was a big Coach Tomlin deal when I was with the Steelers. There's no mystique necessarily in an arena, right? The work, the preparation, the sacrifice that goes on throughout the week, that creates the confidence for the weekend. So I think that's where the emphasis needs to be, and then not getting caught up. Obviously, as you get there and you see it, and you create a comfort level with your surroundings, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. And once you get in between the lines and you play, I know it's cliche, but I think that's where the emphasis needs to be, and the execution play part when the ball snapped.
It was probably pretty loud. It was pretty loud.
Well, I think we caught them maybe a year that it was a little down, so it wasn't as crazy, but it was fun. It was fun. Tony Gonzalez actually went back and kind of a homecoming, so it was a cool environment that way.
Holmes has talked a lot about routine plays. How you've seen Dylan progress there, and how much further can he go, and just getting the ball out of his hands and letting guys do stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a challenge at every level. I think, if you're dealing with a 10-year vet in the NFL, I think you're still talking in those terms, whether it be footwork, pocket movement, seeing post-snap confirmation as far as coverage. And he's such a good processor into anticipation, sometimes too much, right? Like if he's don't anticipate something's going to happen, trying to get through the progression, just take what's there, And I think he's in a great spot. We had a couple of really, really nice plays on schedule, slid in the pocket, made a couple of plays off schedule today. So, the ability to do both of those, creates hopefully some issues on defense.
Addison Williams talked to us Tuesday. He said Dylan made some pretty incredible throws. Receivers made some catches. Do you recall those throws and what maybe transpired during those plays?
Not particularly in that practice. He did make a couple of throws today, and I think what excites you is when you start utilizing. You're a passer, not a thrower. That's what we talk about a bunch. As far as the anticipation element, as far as pace, as far as touch. Fitting into intentional throws, He made a couple of those today, and you could really tell it was a purpose involved. And as you start seeing that, there's a comfort level involved, and that's what creates some excitement as far as, that development moving forward.
Kind of like driving the ball, like not just throwing pretty, but throwing hard.
Yeah, particularly like we did some red zone stuff today, right? And we talk about shorten up, quicken up, because the windows get a little bit tighter, so you might have to put a little bit more pace as those windows tighten. So, example of like that, and he fit it in a window just on time, and good things happen.
Anything else for Coach?
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.